Oh. Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. One of you, a seeker, had shared a link with me about a recent report in the BBC. Here's what happened in this report. There was a man in Turkey, and he was with his friends, and they all got drunk, and they were wandering around a forest. He didn't come home that night, so his wife calls the police and reports this man missing. So immediately, the police start this search party through the forest to find this man. Now, this drunk man is still in the forest and sees that there's a search party for another person, so he joins that search party. Joins the search party looking for him. And then people start calling out, I don't know what that man's name is, Vivek. And that person says, I'm here. And one of you, when you sent this to me, said, that man needs meaningful mornings. We're all looking for happiness. Where is happiness? We are happiness. Whatever we depend on, we are. Whatever we depend on, we are. If I depend on sports, then that's my personality type. If I depend on the body, that's who I feel I am. Presently, we depend on, identify with our vasanas. They are the blueprint for our equipments, like the intellect and the mind and the body. And all of this makes us feel small. Small can be felt as stress, sadness. Our nature is not to be small. Our nature is to be big, to be brihat or infinite. And so the way to change what we depend on, and so who we are, is through dharma. Dharma is a custom-designed context, responsibility for us to change our vasanas, to go from being an equipment to being light, to being our nature. Some techniques on how to live dharmically in an integrated way every day is to do away with dislikes and likes. Let them go. We don't have to give such importance to what we dislike, what we like, and what others dislike, and others like also. You will know that your vasanas are changing when you have less dislikes and likes, and you have more preferences instead. Preferences are how you live in this world cheerfully. Dislikes and likes are how we live in this world miserably. A more comprehensive way to follow dharma is to feel that you work for God. I use the word servant or dasi, that I work for God. If I work for God, those are going to be the right actions with the right attitude. the right Atma, the right Ananda, everything will be right. You will know that you're living like this intention, when you start to feel all of your work is God's work. If I work for God, then all of the work that comes into my life, I should feel is God's work. When was the last time you felt that doing the dishes was God's work? When was the last time where you paid your mortgage, you felt this is God's work? See, if we have this mutual exclusivity, it is not nitya. We'll live this small joy, but not the big joy. All that Sri Krishna has shared, all that I've commented on, cannot be forced. This has to be natural. If you think of a puzzle and there's a missing piece and you put a piece there, you force it in there. It may look okay temporarily, but finally you feel that that doesn't fit there, right? Another's responsibility is theirs. Your responsibility is yours. This has to be natural. And so I shared a technical phrase last week. Na asti akritaha kritena, which means that which is finite cannot create that which is infinite. We keep feeling that we can force the finite into creating infinite joy. This cannot be forced. This has to be natural, as in your nature. We continue. Last week, I had specifically shared with verse 35 that this verse is going to become our future. Is going to become our future. Now, why did I say this? Prince Arjuna last asked a question in verse 2. And since then, he has been actively listening to Sri Krishna. And that's why this upcoming verse, he's actively asking Sri Krishna for clarification. And this dialogue will go on all the way to chapter 18, where finally Prince Arjuna will no longer have questions. He will be content. We are Prince Arjuna. We know Prince Arjuna's future. And the more you reflect on this, that you are Prince Arjuna, that Sri Krishna is looking at you, looking after you, the more you will feel all of these changes, all of the following of these teachings will become you, will be your future. Please do not have a doubt about this. But there's going to be challenges, and that's what Prince Arjuna asks about now. Verse 36. Arjuna uvacha atakena prayukto yam papam charati purushaha anichinnapi varshneya balad iva niyojitaha. Prince Arjuna asks, and the word atha is used, which means one train of thought is complete, a new one is beginning. Kena, by what? Prayuktaha. Prayuktaha means forced. Your book says impelled. Ayam means these equipments. Ayam means me. What am I being forced into? Papa. Papa means dependent joy. Charati. These equipments keep trying to have these experiences. He's using the word purusha. He's not asking for himself only. He's asking for all of us. He doesn't say Arjuna. Says, Purusha, why does this happen to humans? We would feel the same challenge. Summarizing the first line. In chapter 3, from verses 3 to 19, Sri Krishna has taught about dedication. Sanskrit words for that are karma yoga, karma yajna. It is dedication. He zooms in on this, verses 20 to 25, what this dedication looks like in leading oneself. In verses 26 to 30, what this dedication looks like in leading others. And just recently, verses 31 to 35 is almost like an FAQ. There's going to be troubleshooting with being dedicated. So one needs to have faith. If one doesn't have faith, this will happen. Beware of likes and dislikes. So Prince Arjuna is now asking, how come, and he's reading all of our names now, Aparna, Uma, Gayatri, Rupa, Satish, Vivek. How come we are still forced into dependent joy? Can you all feel this question? What this shows about Prince Arjuna and you is a growth in sensitivity. A growth in sensitivity that one is becoming more sensitive to not tolerate sorrow. I remember Puja Swami Tejomayananda sharing, only a fool forbears sorrow. So we're becoming sensitive to not tolerate sorrow. And this is really an expression of satya. If you all remember, I'd shared, satya means non-compromising. Whenever we compromise, what emotion comes with that? Guilt. And I had shared, guilt can harm us or guilt can help us. The guilt that Prince Arjuna is feeling shows his growth, and he does not want to compromise on what the purpose of his life is, who he is. That guilt is helping him to find clarification so that he's not forced into dependent joy. Everyone's following. Typically we'll be told, don't be guilty. But if that guilt helps me, then it's useful, correct? And he's so moved by this, he asks the same question in the second line. Anichinna, which means, I don't wish this. Api, even though I don't wish this. He's calling Sri Krishna Varshneya. That's Sri Krishna's family line. Baladiva. It's like this overwhelming force, like a storm. Niyojitaha. I'm constrained by this. I am locked into this. I can't do anything. I know we can all relate to this. When it comes to eating that which we're not supposed to eat, watching what we're not supposed to watch, buying what we're not supposed to buy, reacting ways we're not supposed to react. We can all relate to this. Earlier I'd shared an intellectual understanding is really a superficial understanding. We all know everything that has been taught from verses 3 to 35. But if we don't follow, that really is indicative that we don't know. Only if you follow do you know. Prince Arjuna's feeling everything that he's known in his life has been superficial. He's gone to the Gurukula. He's lived with Sri Krishna. Still, how come he's depending on joy outside of his nature. From inspiration to application, your recent application was every time you watch something or listen to something, you did that actively. How many of you tried? If you did this actively, that's the same as applying. Actively applying what? Focus. The more distracted one is, the more likes and dislikes. The more focused one is, the more preferences. This is how we apply. When you watch, watch. When you listen, listen. When you eat, eat. This helps us to go from vasanas to om, from being limited to being limitless. Your application for this morning, I want you to reflect on what is your conscience. I'm not saying consciousness, okay? That common moral gauge, my conscience is telling me to do this, or my conscience is telling me not to do this. I want you to reflect on what is conscience? What is your conscience like? Everyone's clear about the rad. Shanti, shanti, shantihi. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be happiness.